Well, hello there, my fellow cruisers. This is Tom, your host, and this is Tom's Day Trips, the cruise show. All right, we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about a pier in Puerto Rico that is reopening. Port Canaveral is expanding. There's an NCL ship that's having a birthday. And there's a cruise line that is visiting some small ports in New England that is dear to my heart. So let's find out. All right, we're back. Okay, let's talk about some stuff here. First thing we're going to talk about is the cruise port in Puerto Rico that is reopening. Back in April of 2024, one of MSC ships basically ran into the mooring, damaged the mooring, so they weren't able to use that particular pier. Well, unfortunately, this pier basically handles the larger ships, especially a lot of the Royal Caribbean Icon and Oasis style ships, which are just mega ships, and they couldn't accommodate those ships, and they took about a year to fix it. It just reopened on June 17th of 2025. So now they're able to accommodate the larger ships. I mean, these ships just get so big, and a lot of areas are not able to accommodate them. So they had to fix the mooring on the pier to accommodate the larger ships. So Puerto Rico is now open for those mega ships. And thank you very much, Puerto Rico, for doing that. Now, well, thinking about the mega ships, I mean, Carnival has large ships. Royal Caribbean has their mega, 7,000 passenger ships. And a lot of ports are not able to accommodate them. So Port Canaveral, talking about ports, Port Canaveral is going to be expanding their terminals on two of their ports. They just approved a $69 million terminal expansion project. They're going to be expanding Terminal 4 and Terminal 5, renovating them, just making them bigger to accommodate these larger ships. I mean, as the ships get bigger, you have to accommodate them. There's actually certain ports that can't take them, and there's smaller ships, and they just don't want the larger ships. But Port Canaveral is accommodating for the larger ships, because sometimes you get one ship, then you get two or three, and it's just overwhelming. So they're going to do it, and hopefully they will have it done by next September of 2025. And this project is on its way now. They actually are working on three other terminals. I think they're 6, 8, and 10. So they're expanding the whole areas to accommodate the cruise industry, because the cruise industry at this moment is booming. And, hats off to Port Canaveral for being proactive to take care of these terminals. Okay. Now, there's an NCL ship that just turned 15 years old. The Epic, which is one of NCL's decent-sized ship. They hold 4,100 passengers, 1,700 crew members. It's been active for 15 years now. They just had their birthday on June 17, 2025. It got delivered on June 17, 2010. And they just recently had a retrofit to update the ship with different venues and renovating the rooms, the public areas. So this is a ship that, if you're into Norwegian Cruise Line, it's a ship to go to, because it is nothing better than a newly renovated ship. Even though it's old, once you renovate them, it's like brand new. And I'm glad they're renovating these old ships and just said, decommission them. So happy birthday, NCL Epic. All right, last thing we're going to talk about. Before we do that, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. If you like what I'm talking about, it doesn't cost you nothing. On the bottom, there's a subscription button. Click on it. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified when videos come out. And I do have over 450 videos in my library, so it's some good viewing. And I want to thank you in advance. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is a small cruise line. It's not actually a small cruise line. It's actually a small ship cruise line called American Cruise Line. They do smaller ships, which usually hold between 80 to, say, 180 passengers. They do riverboats. They do ocean cruising, only in the U.S. And the reason I'm talking about them, they're going to two of the ports that I'm familiar with. And, being a resident of southern New England and in New England, they're going to Portsmouth, New Hampshire for the first time. And for the first time, they're going to Providence, Rhode Island. I grew up in southern New England, so Providence is very familiar to me. So I'm glad they're actually, taking some of these little smaller towns. Actually, they're good-sized cities, but the harbors are very small. So it's a small cruise ship, and they do a lot of the Mississippi River. They do a New England cruise. They do. There's a river out west. They do that river. They do some Alaskan cruises, but only America. But they're a little high end. They're roughly running about $6,000-7,000 a person to do these cruises. So it's a luxury cruise line. High end. Not a whole lot of exciting entertainment. It's more if you want a nice, peaceful, relaxing cruise. So that's American Cruise Line. And if you want that type of cruise line, look it up, see what's going on. And this is the cruise tip for first-time senior cruises, especially senior cruises. And this might feel weird, but before you go on your cruise, make sure you pack, especially if you have false teeth, make sure you pack your Effident and your Fixodent. It's a lot cheaper if you bring it with you than you forget about it, and it's going to cost you a lot more money on the ship. And if you can't find it, there's a lot of food that's going to cause problems when you eat it. So there's a lot of good food, so make sure you bring those two items. That's my senior tip of the day. And once again, I want to thank you much for watching. And just remember, a bad day on a cruise ship is always a lot better than a good day of work any day. And also remember, too, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Thank you for watching.